Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now live at 4 on this Thursday. You're ready for some football?
Oh, very exciting. We forgot to wear our green and gold today.
I thought about it. I had my Packer tie, but
Next time. Very exciting, though. And we're going to join Melissa Kim live in Chicago with a preview of the big game tonight in just a little while.
But first, here's what's making news. On this Thursday, Hurricane Dorian is bearing down on South Carolina. We'll show you the devastation it's left behind.
The Dane County Health Department says people should stop vaping immediately. Amy Reed explains why.
And be extra careful approaching school buses in the Beloit area. Our Adam Duxter goes along on a sting operation.
Let's take a look outside today. Boy, it was a beautiful September afternoon. It was sunny and nice and mild.
It's the Capital City Bike Trail down by Williamson Street. We have a question for the weather words. Maybe a shower? Dana Fulton's in the backyard. It's hard to think about a shower when it's so nice out.
It is. Right now, it is really pleasant outside, nice and sunny, and it feels fantastic. Here's a live look, actually, from our WISC-TV Skycam. Not even a cloud in the sky, so it is really hard to imagine that a shower could be coming on in. Now, this evening, we will stay dry. Keep your plans outside. You're good to go. But overnight into early Friday morning, we may have a slight chance for just a few raindrops falling. 72 currently in Madison, 73 in Janesville. Compared to this time yesterday, is a little bit of a jump, about an 8-degree jump for Madison, a 9-degree jump, though, for Black River Falls. Still feels very comfortable outside as those dew points. And the mid to upper 50s for most of the area. Platteville a little higher in the low 60s right now. Again, a slight chance for a shower possible tonight, but by tomorrow afternoon, another really pleasant day. Heading into this weekend, Saturday will be sunny, but we will have the chance for some showers developing on Sunday, which is going to lead to a cooler end to the weekend. We'll break that down just a little more coming up in a few minutes. Right now, of course, we've got to take a look at the roads. Thankfully, no major accidents to report at this time. Here's a look at the Beltline right at Park Street. Both east and westbound are moving along. Eastbound's just going a little slower right now. In fact, those speeds reduce the closer you get to Park Street to the teens for some areas, scooting along at about 20 miles an hour. Around Prairie du Sac and Sauk City, all looks fine right now. To get from Janesville to the Beltline will take you just 27 minutes, 18 from Sauk City to Middleton. It's a little longer than usual, and 17 from Sun Prairie to downtown on this very fine Thursday evening.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks, Dana.
Thank you, Dana. Hurricane Dorian has been lashing the Carolina coast all day today with treacherous wind and heavy rain. More
than 240,000 homes and businesses are without power, and 16 tornadoes have been reported in the Carolinas. This is a live picture from Cape Fear, North Carolina. Dorian pummeled the South Carolina coast today and flooded the historic city of Charleston with over 7 inches of rain before slowly moving north. Kenneth Craig is in Wilmington, North Carolina, where thousands are without power before the storm even is at its peak.
As Hurricane Dorian rages up the coast, it already has South Carolina in its grips, flooding the streets of Charleston and stranding a car on Myrtle Beach.
If you don't need to be out, don't go out. And in this kind of situation, you don't need to go out. Stay off the streets. It's very dangerous.
In North Carolina, rain is blowing sideways, whipping the abandoned streets in Wilmington. As the storm approaches, it has already spawned possible tornadoes, and Governor Roy Cooper is warning residents Dorian could be deadly.
This won't be a brush by. Whether it comes ashore or not, the eye of the storm will be close enough to cause extensive damage.
The Wilmington forecast calls for winds up to 105 miles an hour, with storm surges possibly as high as 7 feet. One of the biggest concerns along the water here in Wilmington is the potential for serious flooding from heavy rains. Upwards of a foot of rain is expected here. That worries these locals, but they're still staying to ride out the storm.
We've got everything all charged. We've got food we can cook both on the grill and on the stove, and, we're pretty much ready.
Thousands of people have already lost power, a number that could top 700,000 at the peak.
The time to prepare is coming to an end. Now it's time to shelter.
Shelters are at the ready, and officials here are urging residents to use them as the storm closes in. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Wilmington, North Carolina.
And as Dorian works its way up the East Coast, a massive rescue and relief effort continues in the Bahamas. The Red Cross says nearly half of the homes on Abaco and Grand Bahama Islands were damaged or destroyed. This is the view of the devastation from a drone that flew over the Abaco Islands. The airport was badly damaged, but is serving as a meeting place for loved ones who don't know if their relatives survived. A humanitarian crisis in the Bahamas is emerging. 20 people have died, and many of those who survived are now in need of the basics: food, water, and shelter.
Wow, those pictures are unbelievable. Well, Hurricane Dorian isn't just blowing down trees and power lines. Its storm surge has claimed other victims. A Jeep got pulled into the Atlantic Ocean in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's not been confirmed how the vehicle ended up on the beach. One reporter says eyewitnesses told her the owner drove it to the beach and got stuck. Strong surf washed over the car as it slipped little by little into the ocean. Well, the Dane County Health Department is urging everyone to stop vaping now.
Our Amy Reed joins us live to explain why they're issuing this warning now. Amy?
To date, there have been 34 cases of hospitalization due to severe lung damage or disease, and that's credited to vaping. Just a chunk of the 200 cases that are being investigated nationally. Public Health, Madison and Dane County said the majority of cases have reported using e-cigarettes or other vaping devices to inhale THC products, but they said using these for nicotine is dangerous too. This is especially true in young, developing brains, but even adults should be cautious. A health education coordinator for public health said that's because these products are not regulated. So what's on the bottle may not reflect what's exactly in the product.
These products are completely unregulated. So there is no regulation at a state or federal level. So we don't know what's in them, whether it's THC or nicotine products.
Cities around us have been passing ordinances to help cut down on vaping. Beloit is trying to restrict vaping in minors by banning use and possession of devices like e-cigarettes. And Madison, Middleton, Stoughton, Waunakee, and Oregon have all restricted smoking in public places, even with e-cigarettes. Now, public health says that while you can still do it in your own home, you should be aware of the risk that you are presenting to both you and the people around you, too.
All right, good advice. Amy Reed reporting live for us. Thank you.
A not guilty plea has been entered on behalf of the man suspected in Madison's first homicide of 2019. 58-year-old Lou Jefferson stood mute today in court. The Chicago native faces first-degree intentional homicide charges for stabbing 30-year-old Amanda Woods in the Darbo neighborhood. According to a criminal complaint, Woods left a party to buy cigarettes at a gas station. There, the two got into an argument over drugs. There have been no new developments in a Fitchburg murder that happened a couple of days later. 17-year-old Shay Watson, a Verona high school student, was shot to death on Lyman Lane. Fitchburg police said at the time it was not a random act, but they have released no further details on that case.
Madison police say a wrong man has been charged in a hit-and-run car crash a month ago that killed a man and injured his wife. A 32-year-old Madison man was originally charged in that crash, but today MPD says 44-year-old Jason Natcone of Oregon was in fact the driver of the BMW, not a passenger. Natcone faces charges including homicide by intoxicated use of a motor vehicle and hit and run involving death. Police officers in one Rock County community are performing a special sting operation during the first 2 weeks of school.
The goal is to catch drivers that are putting students' lives in danger. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter rode along with an officer this morning and joins us now from our Rock County Bureau with why they say they're fighting a nationwide problem. Adam?
Well, Mark and Susan, last year, Town of Beloit police say they handed out nearly 40 citations over the course of 2 months. That's after the Beloit Turner School District equipped some of its school buses with cameras to try and track these drivers who were illegally passing the school bus. And over the first 2 weeks of school, they're partnering again with Beloit Turner Schools to catch these drivers staking out along Highway 51. Leaders in the district say each time someone passes a bus illegally, they're putting a student's life in danger.
big yellow buses that you're seeing on the roads are carrying your kids, carrying your neighbors' kids, carrying your grandkids, carrying our community's most valuable asset. When they're slowing down, when their red lights are flashing, that means you should be slowing down. And when the stop sign's out and they're stopped, you need to be stopped.
Bull says after the district added cameras to several of its buses last year, it helped them get the license plate numbers they need for police to hand out dozens of tickets to drivers. And he says in the future he hopes to equip even more of these school buses with cameras. But he says in the meantime for drivers, it's another reminder, if you see a school bus stop, you can't pass it.
That's right. Adam Dexter live in our Janesville Bureau. Thanks, Adam.
Busy bureau the way it sounds. Wisconsin Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald is considering a run for Congress. He issued a statement today saying he is considering running for the 5th congressional district that covers Milwaukee's northern and western suburbs and extends into rural Jefferson County. Yesterday, longtime Republican U.S. Representative Jim Sensenbrenner announced that he would not run for his 22nd term in that seat. Former State Senator Leah Vukmir said that she is strongly considering a run for that position as well.
Vice President Mike Pence is promising to work with Britain's new prime minister to reach a trade deal. Vice President Mike Pence visited British Prime Minister Boris Johnson at 10 Downing Street to reaffirm U.S. support as Johnson struggles to get a Brexit deal done. But first, the Prime Minister has to unify Parliament around his plan to leave the European Union by October 31st. Johnson promised to do everything possible to increase free trade between the two allies.
The United States supports the United Kingdom's decision to leave the European Union.
You guys are pretty tough negotiators, so we're gonna work very hard to make sure that that free trade deal is one that works for all sides.
British lawmakers have rejected Johnson's calls for an early general election, creating new hurdles in his bid to lead the world's 5th largest economy out of the EU.
And there's more to come at 4. U.S. and China trade talks are back on schedule.
Both countries are feeling the economic pain of tariffs. We'll see what role that will play when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Well, after ratcheting up trade tensions, the U.S. and China have agreed to meet again in person next month.
And that had positive effects on the markets today. U.S. and China agreed to face-to-face trade talks next month in Washington. The Chinese Commerce Ministry said in a statement the two sides agreed they should work together and take practical actions to create favorable conditions for consultations. Tariff hikes from both sides kicked in this past Sunday. One trade expert says unless one side gives in, the trade war is likely to continue far beyond 2020.
Is China able to last it out with their exports to the U.S. declining, or is the U.S. going to be able to last it out with farmers getting outraged and maybe now actually prices starting to increase for consumers?
U.S. tariffs on another $250 billion worth of Chinese goods are set to increase from 25% to 30% on October 1st, just before the talks.
Let's see where the stocks ended up. The Dow Industrials gained 372 points, closing at 26,728. The NASDAQ added 129. The S&P 500 was up 38. It's almost the weekend in the 608.
It's going to be a very busy one this weekend. The Badgers' first home football game is on Saturday. And of course, the Ironman competition is on Sunday. But wait, there's more. Our very own Ironman, Madison Magazine associate editor Joel Patnaud is here. Hello, Joel.
Hi.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
So we'll go from Ironman to music. There's an interesting album release. Is this tonight?
It is tonight, yeah. There are 4 veteran Madison jazz musicians that a few years ago created this genre-defying group called Mr. Chair. They're releasing their first recording. It's a double CD and triple vinyl called Nebulebula. Their big show is tonight at the Majestic, and some of the music on the album was interestingly commissioned by a UW-Madison science professor who had them not only compose the music but perform during his lectures about the origins of our solar system and other scientific concepts. In any case, the project grew into this album that is 2 hours long, and it includes classical music, jazz with moments of rock, hip-hop, even some Latin grooves. The Mount Zion Baptist Choir and other Madison collaborators were involved and will perform with the band tonight. So it's going to be a very unique show.
It couldn't be any more Madison. That whole story.
Exactly.
You mentioned jazz. There's also another jazz concert?
Yes. The Strolling Middleton Jazz Festival returns for the 4th year. Tomorrow night in downtown Middleton. That's 8 venues involved, from the Middleton Senior Center, the Public Library, National Muster Museum, and Louisiana's Restaurant, among others. They'll be hosting 15 bands playing a wide array of jazz, and a staggered schedule will allow walkers to take in everyone from Johnny Chimes, the John Becker Quartet, and the Tony Castaneda Latin Jazz Sextet, as well as several community and high school jazz combos. And that event is from 5 to 10 tomorrow night, and it's free.
That's right, some great music to choose from. There's also an interesting art exhibit. It makes use of the trees that the city has to cut down.
Yeah, unfortunately, there were several trees that the Madison Parks Department had to cut down because of infestation by emerald ash borers. But that wood was then handed over to more than a dozen artists, and they turned that loss into beautiful wood sculptures. The event starts, the exhibit, I should say, at the gallery at the Overture Center. Begins with a reception that several of the artists will attend. There will also be a short film and city forester to explain and provide some of the educational aspects of the exhibit. But it's a exhibit that will remain on display well beyond tomorrow night into late October.
So the trees live on in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Okay, from something serious to comedy.
Yes, again, tonight is the Best of the Midwest at Comedy on State. This is a great opportunity to catch some of the very funny stand-up comics in the region. Among those appearing are Rory Rush. He's the current title holder of Madison's Funniest Comic. But also appearing will be Mo Yacoub of Minneapolis, Chicago's Molly Kearney, and several others. Again, that's Best of the Midwest tonight at Comedy on State.
The weekend starts tonight, apparently.
It does.
All right, Joel, thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
Have a good weekend.
You bet.
Get this month's Madison Magazine for all the best in the Madison area.
And still to come tonight on News, coming up tonight at 5, it may become a lost art.
But some state legislatures want to make it mandatory to teach cursive writing in elementary schools. Rose Schmidt shows us how. It's coming up at 5. Take a look at this. Forget about paving paradise for a parking lot. A Swiss artist has set up a forest in a football stadium to suggest that one day nature might only be enjoyed in a zoo-like environment. The artist set up a forest of 300 trees in a 30,000 capacity stadium in a town in southern Austria near Italy. The exhibit runs until October 27th. That's something.
That is so cool. I interpreted it differently.
How'd you interpret it?
Nature taking back over what we built, as opposed to the negative side.
That's what I thought when I first saw the video too, but not according to the artist.
Are they selling tickets to this, or?
I don't know.
You have a assigned seat in the stadium.
Unclear.
Unclear.
Very cool, though. Very
well,
cool.
it's a beautiful day today.
It's so nice. I don't know why we're not all outside right now. It's sunny. It feels pleasant. We're really going to enjoy the rest of the evening now. Overnight and tomorrow, as you can see a few more clouds building on in, there is going to be a slight chance for an isolated shower. Only a few folks that will see some raindrops. We'll take a look at your forecast right after the break. As far as Hurricane Dorian's concerned, last night it briefly jumped up to a Category 3 hurricane. Those wind speeds really picking up late with that 10 p.m. update. Now back to a Category 2 hurricane. Still just off the coast of South Carolina and will continue to travel northwest and then pull away from the coastline by this weekend. But a lot of rain, a lot of wind, a lot of storm surge for the Carolinas, as you saw earlier, coming on through. Last night, I did want to show the sunset, a beautiful end to the evening with the cloud coverage that we had yesterday. Of course, we didn't get the sunshine. But it does give us some nice colors for our sunset. This over the Yahara River, actually out kayaking, getting a little water activity in before things cool down too much this evening, though. A beautiful evening for us if you do need to head out on the water for any reason. Temperature-wise, we're in the low 70s, but we do have sunshine and a nice clear sky. Our Doppler track pretty quiet right now. Some showers, though, creeping in up towards Green Bay. 72 currently in Madison with our dew points in the mid-50s. A little bit of a breeze outside. about 13 miles per hour. Enough you'll notice it, but not too windy. Our high pressure is shifted off to the east, so we're on the backside of that, getting a little southern flow right now. We have a little bit of a system off to the northwest that is going to sink east or southeast, and as it does, it's going to push the slight chance for a shower in overnight and for early on Friday. Not a great chance for rain coming on through. In fact, most of the area will stay dry overnight, but don't be surprised if early tomorrow morning you feel a few raindrops, or of course see a few raindrops out on the grill cover in the morning. Heading overnight, our cloud coverage will increase again. That slight chance for showers comes through. Most of the rain is going to stay to the north, though. By Friday afternoon, a partly sunny sky really should be a pleasant end to the work week. Saturday, you get to enjoy the weather throughout the day. It's not until night that we have the clouds really build back in, and our next chance for showers starts to come in overnight heading into Sunday. We have a chance for showers Saturday night and for Sunday. A little more rain expected by Sunday afternoon as the bulk of that system slides on through. So the second half of the weekend a little cooler and rainy, but Saturday really doesn't look too bad. You know, breeze coming from the south for us right now. Temperatures throughout the rest of the evening falling through the 70s and 60s. Overnight lows staying a little higher than usual just because of that cloudy sky. Again, a slight chance for showers early on Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, we get the sunshine back. Temperatures will be in the mid to low 70s for afternoon highs. Again, a really pleasant end to the work week, and we won't have too much of that rain threat to deal with early in the morning, so nothing should be too wet later in the day. Saturday, partly sunny start to the day. Temps will be in the low 50s early in the morning, and then in the afternoon, plan our temps climbing on up into the 70s. So a very fall-like trend with our temperatures heading through the work week and into the weekend. Overnight low of about 59 for us in Madison, so just a smidge warmer. A slight chance for some rain creeping in again overnight. Otherwise, a mostly cloudy sky. Our wind speeds anywhere from 5 to 10 miles per hour, so a little bit of a breeze you'll notice. By tomorrow afternoon, 8 to 15 miles per hour for that breeze coming from the northwest, though. Once that system passes on over, afternoon highs in the low 70s. Partly sunny skies in the afternoon once we get through that early shower chance. A chance for some showers coming through again for Saturday night, and that'll stay into Sunday. Sunday we have a chance for rain really throughout the day. It's also going to be quite a bit cooler on Sunday with that mostly cloudy sky. Monday we will have the sun back to start off the work week, get rid of any Monday blues. But shower chances start to creep back in at night and for Tuesday. So we will have the opportunity for a little more rain to come through next week. But this evening is beautiful. And again, Friday evening should be very, very pleasant outside, although I think a lot of folks are in football mode and will be staying inside this evening. If you could pop the TV outside, I guess that would be ideal, right? Just run the extension cord, the cable cord, and that's what we're trying to figure out how to do at my house. We've got a few different porches. I'm like, well, we could run a cord there and there. How can we?
You can watch off air, or you got to watch the ESPN.
Yeah. ESPN and ACC Network, of course. So,
well, it's going to be chilly on Sunday for the Ironman competition.
Which is good.
That's probably good. Maybe not for so much for the swim.
The swim is going to be a little bit of a concern with those shower chances, but having some cooler air is really refreshing with that light breeze, of course, on the bike. We'll really be able to cool down, but the run, might be a little cool by the run too. But the swim might be a question.
But no lightning.
Not looking at lightning chances. May see a thunderstorm or two, but it really seems more rain right now. But we'll be keeping a close eye on, of course, with the Ironman.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
Thanks, Dana.
Well, some say it's a dinosaur. Others think it could be a giant fish.
The mystery surrounding Scotland's Loch Ness Monster lives on. Ian Lee is in London with the latest theory from scientists.
There's something lurking in the deep of Loch Ness. Sightings of the legendary creature, affectionately known as Nessie, date back 1,500 years.
That's what you actually saw? Yes. How big was it? Oh, as big as a bus.
The newest revelation isn't quite the mythical monster. New Zealand scientists believe it's more likely a giant eel.
Eels are 4 to 6 foot in length. It's plausible that there might be one or two that grow to extreme size.
In this latest expedition to the famous site in the Scottish Highlands, scientists gathered DNA from water samples. They compared them to known databases of plants, insects, fish, and mammals.
Using that DNA, you can then sequence it, and on the basis of the sequence, identify the types of organisms that are present in the water.
While right now an eel is the best theory, it doesn't really spark the imagination like other possible sightings over the decades, ranging from shadowy shapes in the water to giant footprints.
Just look at them, big three-toed footprint, very much like the dinosaur tracks that we find in different parts of the world.
Nessie mania is big business. People want to believe in the tales of the giant sea creature. But killjoys say centuries of sightings could be anything from swimming circus elephants to large tree branches. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Swimming elephants?
A giant, that'd be better than a giant eel, don't you think? Local authorities say they get about 10 reports every year of these unexplained sightings in the waters of Loch Ness.
People see what they want to see.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, still to come at 4, it's the 199th meeting between the two oldest rivals in the NFL.
It is the Packers and the Bears. It's kickoff of the NFL's 100th season. Our Jay Wilson will join us when Live at 4 continues. There's a live look over Lake Mendota just off the UW Memorial Union Terrace. Beautiful afternoon.
Yeah, compared to the East Coast,
yeah,
not bad.
We're the lucky ones, that's for sure. The NFL season gets underway tonight with a marquee game.
It is the Green Bay Packers playing in Chicago against the Bears, and our marquee sports director, Jay Wilson, is here with what we should be watching for tonight at Soldier Field.
Hi, how are you?
This did go back to the beginning, these two.
199th meeting tonight, and it's 97 wins for the Packers, 95 wins for the Bears.
Wow.
And you look at the total points scored, it's almost identical. So, you know, the Bears had their heyday when they won championships in the 40s, and then the Packers have been pretty dominant lately. In fact, the Packers have won 17 of the last 21 against the Bears. But the last meeting, the Bears won 24-17 late last year, and they probably should have won the first meeting last year. Remember, that's when Aaron Rodgers was hurt at Lambeau Field, and
right out the bat.
Remarkably came back and won the game.
So we have a new coach for the Packers.
Yes, Matt LaFleur, a young man, that's going to be interesting to see because when a new coach comes in, you can do everything right in shoulder pads and helmets and shorts in camp. But when the lights come on and it's the Bears, it's Khalil Mack standing across the line from Aaron Rodgers, that's when it gets interesting. Because they also have a new offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. So it's going to be critical for the communication to work. That if LaFleur says something, Hackett agrees, and it gets to Aaron Rodgers, although Aaron Rodgers will probably get to the line and do whatever the heck he wants anyway. So, there's all those dynamics that are going to be interesting for the Packers. Now, the Bears have a new defensive coordinator, too, Chuck Pagano, who used to be the head coach of the Colts. So they're facing some of those similar issues. But playing at home, you'd think the Bears are a 3.5-point favorite now.
That's what you get for just playing at home, right?
Basically 3 points, yeah. So, but, the Bears are coming off of winning the division last year. They were 12-4, had a disappointing loss in the playoffs. And the Packers didn't make the playoffs last year. So we'll see if things have changed. The Packers have signed some pretty big names, free agents, to improve their defense, which is, that's the big question for the Packers. If they can play defense, you figure number 12 will get them the rest of the way.
And this will be their first big test of the offense, too. We didn't see Aaron Rodgers very much at all during the preseason. Did he play at all?
Right. No, he did not. Yeah, he did not. And, he doesn't have to. This is his 15th year in the NFL, and you shouldn't have to worry about him. But what you have to worry about is Khalil Mack and all the other guys on the Bears defense who are very, 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 very good. So I think it's going to be a real challenge for them.
And Rodgers played hurt the last couple of years.
Yeah, but he's healthy now. He feels as good as a 35-year-old can. I mean, what am I saying? A 35-year-old.
I remember that, Jay.
We're looking at some kid. But, a 35-year-old in terms of NFL football, that's really remarkable. It's Tom Brady, it's him, it's Drew Brees, and everybody else are young pups.
Yeah.
So
we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. We'll see if Melissa and Kevin make it to the stadium, too.
Fingers crossed.
That's the biggest challenge we're facing.
They're in an Uber.
They're stuck
and
in
the guy doesn't know
traffic.
The guy doesn't know where Soldiers Field is, the Uber driver.
Say that again? The Uber driver?
Doesn't know where Soldiers Field is.
This is the Chicago Uber driver.
Yes. Yeah, they didn't move it or anything.
Too bad they're not playing at the Jan Hancock Tower.
Or Lambeau Field. All right, thank you, Jay.
Thank you for helping out, Jay.
Sure.
When we come back, if the 2020 presidential election were held today, Joe Biden would beat President Trump in Wisconsin.
That is according to the latest Marquette Law School poll. We'll talk with the poll's director. There he is. Charles Franklin will join us when Live at 4 continues.
Right now, things do look okay on the roads. Thankfully, no accidents to report as we look at the Beltline right at Park Street. Of course, the eastbound side a little more congested, but still moving. Westbound not looking nearly as bad as far as those speeds are concerned along the eastbound side. They start to get reduced the closer you get to Fish Hatchery Road. Of course, the closer to Gammon, about 62 miles per hour, but down to the teens all the way through John Nolan. On the Isthmus, the usual delay, same goes heading towards University Avenue. Should see an extra 5 to 10 minutes on your commute. Around Prairie du Sac and Sauk City, no major delays. A few slowdowns there in Sauk City right now as more folks get on the roads, but you should be driving through fairly smoothly. 27 minutes to get from Janesville to the Beltline. Sauk City to Middleton at 16 minutes, and the drive from Sun Prairie to downtown just a little longer than usual, at about 18 minutes this evening. That's a quick look at traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. Here's a cup of coffee that's almost too pretty to drink. A former latte art champion in Australia has designed rainbow-colored coffee. Images include Totoro from the animated fantasy film, a fox, and a cake decorated with balloons. The creations are in great demand, and yes, you can drink them.
How do they do that?
Isn't that remarkable? That is beautiful. Is that McDonald's? No.
No.
All right, the latest Marquette Law School poll of Wisconsin voters was released yesterday.
Wisconsin will be under the microscope for the next 14 months as the candidates battle for what could be a key state in the presidential election. So where do voters stand today? Charles Franklin is the director of the Marquette Law School poll. Good to see you back, Charles.
Good to be here.
So there's a long way to go. I thought I saw you describe this as we're in the second inning.
I think we're in the middle of the second, and it's a long way to the bottom of the ninth. And I'd really encourage people to think about our poll and everyone else's that way.
Yeah.
That games go up and down, and they tell you something about which teams are doing well and poorly. But the middle innings are by no means a sure thing for how the final outcome falls.
But here in the middle of the second, you polled the Democrats against President Trump in a hypothetical election. If you're
That's right. And this is the first time we've done that comparison this cycle. Joe Biden does quite well, 51-42, a 9-point lead over President Trump. That's substantial. The margin of error is just under 4 points, so this is outside that margin of error. Then Bernie Sanders leads, but by a smaller margin, 48-44. Then the other two candidates we asked about, Elizabeth Warren ties at 45, and Kamala Harris ties at 44. We asked about those four candidates because they are top four in national polling averages now. As those averages move around and different candidates rise and fall, we'll ask about others. But for this time, we asked about those four.
But and a certain number of people don't even know who they're going to vote for.
That's right. It ranged from about 7 to a little over 10 who said they don't know. The other thing that I think you could take away from it is President Trump's support ranged very slightly from 42 to 45, just a 3-point range, whereas the Democrats ranged over 7 points from 44 to 51. You might not think that's a lot, but it does show that who the Democratic candidate is mattered for the Democrat standing, but it didn't shift the Trump support a lot. And that's probably typical of an incumbent president who has a record, is well known, and people are certainly divided over.
So what does this show you, do you think, as you look ahead toward the Democratic primary? That Joe Biden is still in the lead at this point?
Biden is doing well. When we did ask of people who could vote in, are likely to vote in the Democratic primary, Democrats and independents who lean Democratic and independents with no party lean. We left out Republicans and Republican leaners. Among that group, Biden had 28% support in the primary, Sanders 20, Elizabeth Warren 17. That's pretty much in line with national polling. But in fourth place was Pete Buttigieg at 6 and Kamala Harris at just 3. Harris has typically been polling in fourth place nationally, so there's a little bit of a difference there here in our data versus the national data after you get past the top 3. Otherwise, that's pretty much in line with national data.
And how about the president's approval rating?
That's just the tiniest tick down from April, 45% approve, 52% disapprove. It was 46-51. That says 53. That may be right. I may have misspoken. But in any case, 45 was the approval, down from 46. last time in April. So that's easily inside margin of error kind of change.
And that's sort of national trend as well.
A little bit. We have seen a drop. You know, his approval rating doesn't change much in our data or national data. Recently, he may have come down from about 44 nationally to about 42 nationally or so. One thing we did ask was approval of his handling of the economy, and that was a little bit better, but it was still 49 to 50 approve, disapprove. So the strength of the economy is something that has been helping him, but here that's a little bit tighter. Nationally, he's been doing 53 or 54 approval on the economy.
And next week, we'll have another Democratic presidential debate. 10 candidates all together on one stage for the first time. So do you think there could potentially be a breakout moment?
I think one of the most important things is Democratic voters getting to know the candidates still. Biden and Sanders are very well known in our data, but 34% didn't know enough about Elizabeth Warren to say if they were favorable or unfavorable, and 51% didn't know their opinion of Kamala Harris, and Pete Buttigieg 56%. So there is a big range of how well people know these candidates. This will be the first debate that Warren is on the same stage with Biden, and of course the first night that they're all on the same stage together. So while there's always a chance of a great line that gets you a big boost, there's also the chance for Democratic primary voters to tune in and feel like they're getting to know some of these candidates that they really clearly are not yet familiar with.
It's a week from tonight, actually.
Yep. And that's where we stand, the middle of the second inning.
That's right. We'll come back in the third.
All right.
We'll
Charles.
see you then. Thanks, Charles.
Thanks for coming out. We'll have a final check of your forecast coming up.
We'll play back.
Get out if you can.
Yes, it's really nice outside. It feels great. We're in the low 70s, and we're starting to see some clouds build on in, unfortunately. No rain chances really this evening. Here's a live look from our WISC-TV Skycam. Not as much sunshine as we had about 20 minutes ago. 72 currently in Madison, about 74 in Lone Rock, and 72 in Platteville as well. A little bit of a jump compared to where we were at this time yesterday. Our dew points, though, still in a pretty comfortable spot, about 55 in Madison. Again, there is going to be a slight chance for some isolated showers tonight into Friday morning. Overall, Friday afternoon, though, will be really pleasant outside. Saturday, not too bad either. And then a little cooler heading into the weekend.
All right. Thank
All right,
you.
thanks, Dana.
Tomorrow here on Live at 4, we'll look at the problem of concussions in high school football players.
And our Michael Bruno goes backstage at Crass Theater's production of... Nope, not football. This is after the football. It's the production of Fake Mom. That's
Fake
coming
news.
up. Yeah, coming up tomorrow. In today's supersized